on the phone right now, and we want to thank this talented young man, Jeff Davisson. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Jeff. Now, I haven't had the pleasure of seeing you face-to-face or actually being there for a live performance, but I'll tell you, the rumors about you and your stage presence supersede you.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I believe you guys were there in October, and I could not be there that night.
Jeff, you've agreed to allow us to interview. This is a telephone interview, and we sent you some sample questions, but don't be surprised if I throw a ringer in there.
That's the way it goes sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Jeff, a lot of times people like you who have such a talent for music and entertaining get their start at a very young age. When did you first know that you had talent?
Well, it all started way back in kindergarten, of all things, and the school I went to was a very private school. When I say private, I do mean very private. It was a local Christian school here in town, and they, at that age, you had to get up in front of everyone, the church congregation, school parents, and all that, and you had to do what they told you to do. That could be anything from reciting Bible verses, that could mean anything from singing songs, and it just went on from there. And you had to do it, or else your behind told you that you should obey the next time. You had to get up in front, and that's, frightening for a kid, 6, 7 years old that is afraid of his own shadow like I was at the time. And, you're staring at all these people staring right back at you, and, you got to do what you got to do up there.
Jeff, so you did start performing and being in front of folks and singing. Do you happen to remember, was it a Christian song that you sang or something you'd sing in church, or do you remember?
The very first thing I ever did in front of anyone that I can remember is at Christmas time. The kindergarten, we were called beginners. I guess that kind of goes with that. But they were called the beginners class. We had to get up and recite Luke 2, 8 through 20. And all of us kids we were dressed up as shepherds and all that as they told the story of the shepherds coming to Bethlehem. And we had to recite that word for word. And that was my first ever appearance in front of anybody. And, I think it went off without a hitch. I do remember, there's strength in numbers, as they say, so I wasn't as intimidated as what, some might have been, because I had the strength of everyone else around me to be more comfortable. So, but I think that was the very first time I was ever in front of anyone doing anything. And then it just, like I said, it went on from there, from doing solos, to duets, to trios, to choirs, and all kinds of things there at the church. So,
well, we're talking with Jeff Davisson, entertainer extraordinaire, and we're going to find out more about Jeff and his young life. And he just mentioned something that leads us to another question. Jeff, you just said something about their safety in numbers. Jeff has surrounded himself with a lot of talented people like himself. He's flying with the Eagles right now, with some of the really good names in entertainment. And he's already shared with us his first public appearance as a child. But, Jeff, what was your first public appearance where you were getting paid to perform?
Well, that was just a couple of years ago, actually.
Oh, okay.
Where I actually had the privilege of opening for Elvis Presley Jr. I did not know anything I knew about the stage, being on stage in front of people, but as far as him coming up to me, behind me, putting his hand on my shoulder and saying, "Hey, I heard you like to sing." And I said, "Well, I enjoy singing. That didn't mean everyone else around me does, but I do enjoy singing." And he said, "Okay, well, I'll tell you what. For my next show, you're going to open the show. Get 4 or 5 songs together, and you're going to open for me." So like, okay, well, that all come to pass because I had asked his fiancée, Miss Angela Mingo, I had asked her to do I Fall to Pieces because I really, really love that Patsy Cline song, and she does a really good job on a lot of the Patsy Cline songs that she performs. So I said, well, can you do that song for me? She said, yes, but I'm not really sure of the lyrics. And jokingly, I said, well, hey, when you get ready to do it, let me know. I'll come up and I'll help you sing. And so that next show that she did, they did a Halloween show. So we were all dressed up in all kinds of costumes and silly looking get-ups. And so she comes up on stage and she says, I'm going to do this song for someone in our audience, but he's going to come up and help me sing the song. Oh no. So she called me up there and I sang the song with her, and the rest was history. After that, he come out and he said, yep, you're going to open the next show for me. So from then on, anytime that Elvis Jr. does a show around the Salina, Ohio area, he gets with me and we plan it out, and I open a lot of the shows for him. And so it's been a unique experience working with the son of Elvis Presley. I can tell you that right now. That's something that not everyone can say they've done.
That's a very, very interesting story, as well as heartwarming, that, for any singers out there or performers, at any point in any time in your life, kids or grown-ups, someone may tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you're opening my next show. And it might be Jeff.
That's right. You just never know what can happen. I never saw that coming, and it's there. So,
Do you have a preference of a type or style of music that you want to sing?
Well, growing up, I had a kind of a very unique childhood, and that goes back to the school I went to. That's a whole different chapter there. But that aside, my dad was a big Bill Anderson, Porter Wagner, Statler Brothers, that kind of generation of music there. And so I grew up listening to a lot of that. Well, my mother was more on the Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, the Monkees, the Beatles, the groups like that. Now, she passed away when I was 7, and so my stepmother, she was back in the older days, meaning she grew up in the big band era. So she was with all the big bands back in that time frame, and then she also really liked Tony Bennett and Johnny Mathis, Frank Sinatra, Elvis, of course. Quite a well-rounded growing up listening to music type of thing. And then, of course, growing up in the private Christian school, of course, I got submersed with hymns of the church, and grew up listening to a lot of the gospel songs and the composers. The school really drummed into our heads the classic composers, the Bach, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Chopin. So I had a lot of different types of music growing up. So to say preference as far as what I really enjoy listening to, I would have to say it probably goes to the older country, more in the Johnny Cash, the George Jones, but I really don't really have a preference entirely to say, yes, this is the only style I'll listen to, because of growing up with all that music around me. I just really enjoyed listening to just about everything.
Well, do you have actually a favorite singer or singers that come to mind?
I would have to say, if I was to ask, or someone was to ask me as far as an influence goes, like who motivates you to get up and sing as far as an entertainer goes, I would say it's a tie. And the first would have to be Elvis Presley. I don't think I've listened to anything of his that I don't like. And the other singer is maybe not as well known to some of the listeners, would be Steve Green. And Steve Green, I followed his career. I was 7 or 8 years old when I first started listening to him, and I followed him, went to many of his shows over the years. And he's a contemporary Christian singer. And he started off with Bill Gaither and his wife and Bill Gaither's brother, the Gaither Trio. He started out as a background singer for them, and then he went on to sing with a group called Whiteheart, and they had an album or two, and then he actually went off on his own, and he's had a really good career as far as music goes. He's been nominated I don't know how many times for Dove Awards. He's won Grammy. He's had Grammy nominations in music, and he's quite a talented individual. And so I would have to say those two guys, I could listen to their music 24/7 probably.
Jeff, as an adult performer, have you ever had a blooper on stage or in front of an audience where maybe like you've forgotten the words to a song?
Oh yes, I think that probably happens to a lot of us. I guess maybe the key would be to, when that happens, not panic and just make something up and keep on rolling. And it happens. You get your mind kind of wanders sometimes when you're up there on stage singing, especially if it's a song that you're either not as familiar with, but you're doing it anyway, or if it's a song that you think that you could sing, blindfolded, eyes closed, all that type of stuff, and, you still mess up a line or something, and that's happened before. Or when I'm singing to a track, if the track skips, that's not fun either. The track will skip or stop, and then you're just kind of like a deer in the headlights staring, know what. So, that's kind of a situation there for sure.
Well, with bloopers in mind and forgetting words, do you have a worst moment in your singing career that while you were on stage, the very worst moment you can remember?
Yes, actually, I don't remember the song actually now, but I do remember singing along there, and the song, at the chorus, it went up 2 steps, and I wasn't thinking at the time, and I did not go up with those steps. I stayed down to where I was singing previously, so the song was going higher, and I was about halfway through the chorus. It's like, oh no, okay, now what do I do? So I thought, well, the people are just kind of staring at me. I don't know if they realize what I've just done, or if I can cover it up, or.
Oh man, it reminds me of that song, to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony, huh?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Well, now, I know that I've been following something, and I wish I could be there for you. My heart and my thoughts will be, but I understand you're going to be involved with something coming up, a performance in the Ohio Has Talent performance. Tell us about that.
Yes, that is an annual event, and I had heard of it, but I didn't really follow through with kind of pursuing it. And a friend of mine, she had mentioned to me about the fact that these guys are going to have auditions, and thought, well, just try it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Well, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll try it. So I go to audition, and they have 2 days worth of auditions. That's how many people had signed up. And, 6 or 8 hours each day, but, hundreds of people coming through. And it was amazing, the talent that I heard while I was waiting to audition. It was amazing. So I go to audition, and I go in a room, and they have a sound booth there, and they have 3 judges, and they have the kind of the organizer of the event. She's in there as well. No one else is allowed in the room while you're performing the audition song. So I get up there and I do the song, and so I get done, and it was The Wonder of You. That's the song that I did for the audition. And I kind of warned the judges. I said, this is 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to promise what the song will sound like, but I'm just going to go up here and let her go here. So I get done with the song, and one of the judges throws her scarf at me, and the other judge singing along word to word to the song, and tells me, well, you know what? If my sister was here, she would have run up on stage and kissed you. I thought, oh Lord, okay. Oh. So I told her, I said, well, I take it you enjoyed the song. Yeah. So this every year, this is the 9th year they've done this, and it's actually a fundraiser for the Van Wert Hospice Center. And hospice, I'm sure a lot of the listeners can connect with somebody, whether it be family or friends, that have had to have hospice for various reasons. And it's just such a great organization to help out and stuff. And this contest really is twofold. It not only benefits the hospice, but also tries to promote the local talent. And they go all over the place. I mean, this talent is from all over the area. It's not just one specific place. And the competition is actually this coming Saturday on the 5th at the Niswonger Performing Arts Center in Van Wert. It's quite a big facility, and I've never been on stage in front of 1,200 people, but this Saturday that's going to happen.
So we wish you well with that.
Oh, well, thank you very much. There's going to be 17 other acts beside myself. Yes, I am one of 18 acts that are going to be performing that night, and by looking at the lineup, they sent me kind of a promotional poster detailing a little bit about each person or act that's going to be performing. And I tell you what, wow, it's some stiff competition. This talent is amazing. I mean, you're going to have everything from singers to choirs to ensembles to even a barbershop quartet of high school guys. They are fantastic. And, I mean, it's just going to be one incredible night. And, but they, like I said, they do this every year. It's the 9th year they've done it. And, so I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, even if I don't win, I mean, the biggest thrill for me is just being in front of all those people at one time. That's going to be amazing to me.
You deserve the recognition and the notoriety, and I'm glad it's you that was picked and selected. And we have Jeff Davisson on the line, and he's agreed to this interview. We want to thank you, Jeff, and we have a lot more questions coming at you. Jeff, in addition to your Ohio Has Talent that's coming up, and what date is that?
That is this Saturday, March 5th, at the Niswonger Performing Arts Center in Van Wert, Ohio.
Okay. And do you have any more appearances that are coming up that you can share?
I do. I have, starting this last year, I started to get into local nursing homes in the area. And, you know, a lot of the songs that I enjoy singing are from yesteryear, as they say. You know, from Johnny Mathis to, you know, Johnny Cash and all back in that time frame there. And a lot of these folks that are in the assisted living homes and even the regular nursing homes, that's the songs that they enjoy. That's the songs that put a smile on their faces, that brings the memories back to them. So I have been going to nursing homes in the area and just doing shows there, different ones, and I'm getting a lot more bookings as far as that goes. So that's going really well. And I've actually got one this next coming Tuesday. I'm going to be in Salina, the nursing home up there. And then a week from this Saturday, I've got a big show that I'm doing in Beaver Dam, Ohio, where they got a big truck stop, couple truck stops up there. It's pretty huge up in this area. And that is, you know, a show that I'm putting on, but it's also the talent that's going to be on there with me as well is also kind of local area talent that are also trying to get into performing more and getting out in front of people. And so it's kind of an enhancement thing for them as well, and to let people know, hey, this guy's good, this gal's good. And so it's really a show to help everyone involved. And then at the end of March, I'm doing a show with Fred Dubé at the Stardust Room there in Salina. And I do a lot of shows there with myself there, or with Elvis Jr. And Fred Dubé has agreed to come on down there, and people are really looking forward to seeing him and hearing him, and so I'm gonna open the show for him, and then turn the reins over to him for the evening, and that's Friday the 25th there at the Stardust Room in Salina, Ohio. So there's just a few of the things coming up. So I'm trying to stay as busy as I can as far as shows go, and keep on performing. So
sounds to me like you're keeping a really good schedule. And I'll tell you, Jeff Davisson is got a future. I'll tell you, in this industry and in what you're doing. It's very admirable that you give up your time and go to these nursing homes, and these folks really love it when they hear those songs that they remember from, as you said, yesteryear. And, of course, I know you do current music, too. And, well, that brings up a question. Where do you see your musical career going?
Well, that is a good question. I'm just kind of open really to about anything as far as that goes. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, performing, and trying to learn as much. I say new material, but it's old material. But I got to learn the songs, you know. And as people request, you know, me do one song or the other. If I don't know it, I try and find the music, and then once I find it, I try and learn it and, you know, perform it at the next show that they'll be at and stuff. And that's just something to make them happy, and then they kind of enjoy that too when you do a special song for them and that. But you know, as I'm doing this, it's amazing to me how the doors are just kind of opening up here, and I'm just doing shows and enjoying what I'm doing, and I don't want to say I'm not really trying, but I am. But as far as the opportunities are just coming right and left, and it's like, wow, this is great. You know, this is what it's about, and all the while I'm having fun doing it, and I think that's the most important thing as well. You know, you don't work at a job because you don't want to work at a job if you don't enjoy it. You want to just enjoy your work and have that be a part of your life, and this is great. I really enjoy doing this. So,
you know, Jeff Davisson, I listen to what you're saying, and music has been in your blood, in your system, in your life since a very early on in your childhood, as early as kindergarten. And here you're still performing and you're still growing and nurturing a beautiful talent. And a lot of people really appreciate that. And I bet already from all the exposure that you've had, you probably have some followers that would like to keep in touch with you and keep in touch with your career and your music. Is there any way that you can share with us how followers can keep up with your schedule and maybe come and see you perform?
Yes, I'm actually on Facebook, and it's Jeff Davisson. I can't even talk today. Getting tongue-tied. It's Jeff Davisson Entertainment, LLC. It's on Facebook, and if they want to go on there and join up, that's great, because I put on when I'm going to perform again, where I'm going to be at, and just kind of keep it updated as far as that goes. I let people know when I've gone to a specific nursing home and how it went, and so I keep it updated frequently, so they can pretty much keep up with me on that. Right, as far as right now, I'm working on a web page to be able to go on the internet to where they can see more of that. So that's a work in progress. But as far as right now, Facebook, just Jeff Davisson Entertainment LLC, and it'll pop up there, and we'll add you. And
thank you so much for sharing that information. And, you know, you've already passed on to me 2 CDs that I received in the mail, and we really appreciate that. And we've already aired some of your music. In fact, I had trouble finding your CDs, and one of them happened to be in one of my computers where I had just played music from your CD on the air. But here's the thing. Both of these CDs are live performances. Do you have any plans to make available for people to purchase your CDs, or where are you on that issue, on personal CDs that can be available to the public to purchase?
I am working on actually working with a guy that he's going to be at my show in Beaver Dam, and he's his band. The Icky Ricketts Band, of all names. That's a catchy blues name there, and they're gonna be there for that show. But he has some sort of it's kind of a recording studio. He's still developing it and still building it and all that type of thing. But I hope to work with him in the future and maybe get some songs together and record clearer, more better. Listening anyway, as far as that goes, CD, and so it's going to be in the future here. But again, with the Facebook page, I'll definitely keep everyone updated on that as well to let them know where I'm at with that, and make that available to them, and then we'll go.
Jeff, you talking about your CDs and maybe going into a studio and creating a studio version of some of the music. Have you written any original material, or do you have any songwriters you're working with to maybe put some original material on your CD?
Well, it's amazing as I'm doing more shows and meeting more people, I'm running into more and more people that are writers. And I actually just yesterday night attended a house concert, and this traveling musician is actually from Durham, North Carolina, and he's on his way to Detroit, and he met a friend of mine through the internet, and he agreed to stop through Lima there on his way to Detroit, and just hold himself and his stand-up bass player. They traveled together. They were going to meet their band up in Detroit, and they stopped off there, and I got to talk to him, and everything that he's got on his CDs, he wrote everything. And so he's quite an accomplished writer. So that might open a door, down the road as far as that goes. I've not attempted to write anything yet. I mean, you think about things, and I think maybe it has to be the right frame of mind, for you to be able to write a song to where it makes sense and it just kind of flows there. But I've not tried to write a song yet. I just really right now I enjoy trying to sing a lot of the other songs and try and master the lyrics and get that kind of thing down right now.
And I think that's plenty on your plate already, which brings up a couple of ringer questions for you here now. And Jeff Davisson has been so kind to give us this time out of his life and busy schedule to share with us about his personal life, about his youth, and about his career in music. And Jeff Davisson is absolutely a talented individual. I have heard his music. And I've often wondered, what does Jeff Davisson do in your spare time?
Wow. Well, when I actually do have spare time, I drive truck full time. That's my main job. And I fit shows in and performances in when I can in between work. And so it's a busy life as far as that goes. But when I'm not doing either one of those things, I really enjoy reading. I really enjoy reading. Right now I'm actually reading George Jones' autobiography. And in fact, as I'm reading at the beginning, he did not want to write the book. He didn't want anything to do with the book because he said that part of my life's over. It was a bad part of my life, talking about his alcohol issues there. And he quit writing the book several times, and the writer kept on him. So, but I really enjoy reading autobiographies. I like, reading about what they've gone through, who they've met, and it's amazing to me. And really, I just enjoy just sitting and reading and listening to music. And that's really my pastime as far as when I have any. That's right.
Here's kind of an interesting question, and I hope that you have an interesting answer. Now, if you don't, that's okay. But somewhere along the line in your career and in your adventures, has anyone ever tagged you with a moniker, a nickname of any kind?
Well, not yet. I don't. Of course, that would change, I suppose, if you made anyone mad. I suppose they'd have a nickname for you.
Well, Jeff, if you were to coin a phrase or a nickname about yourself, what would it be?
Oh my, that you did ask quite a question there. I don't. Wow. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one, I think,
Well, then here's what we'll do. We'll continue this interview at another time. We really enjoy talking to Jeff Davisson. He is just so informative, and you can tell by the tone of his voice that everything he says, he means. It comes from his heart. It isn't like, well, hey, let me think of something really impressive to say here. Jeff Davisson tells it like it is. And I think that's beautiful, Jeff. That's a rare quality in today's society.
Well, thank you.